Every year, roughly 300,000 older adults in the United Kingdom alone are hospitalized following a fall, and 1 in 3 of those people never fully regains their previous level of independence. 300,000. And the part nobody tells you, the part your GP likely glossed over in a 6-minute appointment, is that the majority of those falls were not caused by bad luck, slippery floors, or simply getting old. They were caused by a specific, measurable failure in a system inside your body that starts declining in your 40s and accelerates sharply after 70. And here is what makes this genuinely urgent. That system can be retrained at any age, with one simple daily exercise that takes less than 10 minutes and requires no equipment, no gym, and no referral. If you want more content like this, practical, evidence-based health information that your doctor should be telling you, but often does not have time to, please subscribe and give this video a like. It helps more people find this channel, and it tells me what topics matter most to you. Let me reframe what falling actually is, because most people think of it as a balance problem. It is not primarily. Think of the suspension system on a car. When the suspension is worn and sluggish, the car does not respond to the road fast enough. It lurches, it overcorrects, it tips. Your body has an equivalent system, and its name is proprioception, that is, the body's internal position sense, the unconscious, continuous signal your muscles and joints send to your brain, telling it exactly where you are in space at every moment. When proprioception is sharp, your body makes hundreds of tiny automatic micro-corrections every second to keep you upright. When proprioception degrades, which research confirms it does at a rate of roughly 1 to 2% per year after the age of 50, those corrections slow down, arrive too late, or stop arriving altogether. And the result, when combined with a slight stumble on a threshold or an uneven pavement, is a fall. The reason this matters so deeply is that proprioception is not a fixed capacity. It is a trainable system. And unlike muscle mass, which requires significant effort and nutrition to rebuild after 70, proprioceptive sharpness responds remarkably quickly to specific daily stimulus. 2 to 4 weeks of consistent practice produces measurable improvements in people over 70. Research shows this. That is not reassuring noise. That is data. Here is something I want you to understand before we go further, because it changes how you will think about this. The exercise industry sells complicated equipment. The pharmaceutical industry sells calcium supplements and bone density medication. Neither of these addresses proprioception directly. There is very little commercial incentive to tell a 75-year-old that 10 minutes of barefoot standing practice can meaningfully reduce their fall risk. The system profits when you buy products. It profits far less when you simply use your body correctly. Now, most people who think about fall prevention make one of several critical mistakes. Let me walk you through them, because avoiding them is just as important as doing the exercise itself. The first mistake is focusing exclusively on lower body strength while ignoring the ankle and foot sensory system. Most fall prevention programs, and there are good ones out there, concentrate heavily on leg press exercises, chair stands, and quadriceps strengthening. All of these are valuable. None of them, on their own, address the fact that your proprioceptive nerve endings are most densely concentrated in your ankles, feet, and the small intrinsic muscles of the sole. Think of those nerve endings as microphones picking up signals from the ground. Thick-soled orthopedic shoes, years of walking on perfectly flat surfaces, and reduced barefoot contact with varied terrain effectively muffle those microphones. The brain stops receiving rich ground signal information. The result is not weakness in the legs. It is a processing deficit in the nervous system. You can have strong quadriceps and still fall because the signal telling your brain your weight has shifted unexpectedly is arriving half a second too late. The second mistake is practicing balance in conditions that are too stable. Many people who do try balance exercises stand near a kitchen worktop, lightly holding on a smooth, flat floor in soft indoor lighting. That environment provides almost no proprioceptive challenge. Your nervous system does not improve when it is given tasks it can already complete easily. The principle here is called progressive overload, and it applies to neurological training just as it applies to muscle training. You need graduated instability. You need to take the microphone away from the cushioning and let it hear the ground signal again. The third mistake is treating balance training as something to do once, 3 times a week, like a class. Proprioceptive retraining works best when it is woven into daily life in short, repeated doses. 10 minutes every day produces better results than 45 minutes twice a week. The nervous system learns through repetition and consistency, not through occasional effort. The fourth mistake, and this one I find genuinely frustrating to see so often, is waiting until after a fall to begin. There is a pattern I see regularly. An older adult has a first fall, is frightened, perhaps fractures a wrist or an elbow, goes through physiotherapy, does the exercises for 3 months, and then stops. Because they feel better. Because nothing bad has happened again, and the risk returns. Fall prevention is not rehabilitation, it is maintenance. It is a daily practice like brushing your teeth, not a course of treatment with a defined end date. Now let me tell you about Marina. Marina came to see me at 61, referred by her daughter, who was increasingly worried. Marina had not had a serious fall, but she had stumbled twice in 6 months, once on a garden step, once getting off a bus, and both times she had needed to grab something to recover. She described it as her legs going somewhere without telling her. She had seen a rheumatologist who tested her bone density and found it slightly below optimal. She had been prescribed calcium and vitamin D and told to be careful. She bought supportive trainers with thick soles. She began avoiding stairs where possible and started using a trolley at the supermarket for additional stability support. When she came to see me, I did not start with tests. I started with questions. I asked her what shoes she wore around the house. She wore a specific type of foam-soled slipper she had been given, very cushioned, very stable, very soft. I asked when she had last walked on grass or gravel barefoot. She thought about it and said she genuinely could not remember. I asked if she had ever had her proprioceptive function tested. She had never heard the word. I explained it to her the way I explained it to you a few moments ago. And I told her that her calcium was fine, her vitamin D was borderline but manageable, but what was actually driving her instability was that her ankle-foot sensory system had been progressively understimulated for years. Her nervous system had become, in her own words when I explained it, lazy. She said, "So I have been wrapping myself in cotton wool, and that has made it worse." Precisely. We began a simple daily program. Within 3 weeks, she reported that her foot contact with the ground felt different, more real somehow. Within 8 weeks, her balance testing showed measurable improvement. Within 6 months, she was walking on uneven coastal paths with her daughter. She stopped using the supermarket trolley for support. She described herself as feeling, for the first time in years, like her body was on her side again. Marina's improvement came not from a single expensive intervention, but from understanding what had actually degraded and why. She had been treating the wrong problem because the right diagnosis was never explained to her. Now, as we think about what is happening in the body across different decades of life, there is important variation to understand. In your 50s, proprioceptive decline is measurable on testing, but rarely symptomatic. Most people notice nothing unless they are tested directly. This is the decade when preventive practice is most powerful and most ignored. In your 60s, roughly 1 in 3 people will experience at least one fall per year. Reaction times begin to slow more noticeably. Ankle stiffness and reduced range of motion begin to compound the proprioceptive deficit. The risk is real, the trajectory is downward if unaddressed, but the nervous system still responds robustly to training. In your 70s, the fall risk roughly doubles compared to the 60s. Muscle mass decline, a condition called sarcopenia, which is the progressive loss of muscle tissue, combines with reduced proprioceptive input to create a compound vulnerability. Medication side effects become more clinically significant, particularly in people taking 3 or more medications simultaneously, a situation called polypharmacy. The good news remains. Proprioceptive training still works. Research in adults aged 70 to 85 consistently shows meaningful functional improvement with consistent daily practice. In your 80s and beyond, the training must be adapted for safety, and supervision or partnership is wise. But the underlying mechanism is unchanged. The nervous system continues to respond to challenge. How old are you? Write it in the comments. I want to know which age group this content hits closest to home, so I can focus future videos on exactly where you are right now. Now I want to debunk something that is almost universally accepted and almost universally wrong. The myth is this: falling is a natural consequence of getting old, and the most important thing you can do is remove hazards from your environment. Grab rails, non-slip mats, good lighting, remove rugs. These things are not harmful. Please keep your grab rails. But the belief that environmental modification is the primary defense against falls is simply incorrect, and it leads to a passive strategy when an active one is available. Research from the British Medical Journal and the Cochrane collaboration, two of the most rigorous evidence sources available, confirms that exercise-based interventions reduce fall risk by between 23 and 40% in older adults. Environmental modification alone reduces it by considerably less. The deeper problem with the hazard removal approach is that it trains the person and the nervous system for a world that has had all its difficulty removed. The real world has curbs. It has uneven paving. It has a step onto a bus in rain. You cannot modify those environments, but you can train your nervous system to handle them. The goal is not to remove challenge from your life. The goal is to restore your capacity to meet it. I call the daily practice I am about to describe the ground signal protocol. It has 3 components, done daily, and none of them requires more than a few minutes at a time. The first component is barefoot standing practice. Every morning for 2 minutes, stand barefoot on a folded towel or a slightly textured bath mat, not a cushioned surface, but something with just enough give to add gentle instability. Stand without holding on. Feet hip-width apart. Eyes open at first. Your task is simply to feel the ground under your feet with complete attention. Notice where your weight is. Notice the micro shifts. If you wobble, do not grab something. Let the wobble happen and let your body correct it. That wobble is the training. That is your nervous system being asked to do its job. After 2 weeks of comfortable daily practice, progress to eyes closed for 30 seconds at a time. The visual system normally compensates heavily for proprioceptive deficits, and closing your eyes removes that compensation, forcing the ankle-foot system to carry more of the load. 2 minutes every morning. That is all. The second component is tandem walking. 12 to 15 steps, heel directly in front of toe, in a straight line, along a hallway, along a kitchen counter edge, along a garden path. Walk slowly, do not rush. The slow speed is deliberate because your nervous system needs time to process each weight shift. Fast walking allows momentum to carry you. Slow tandem walking requires your balance system to actually engage. Do 2 passes of this daily. If you find it easy, do it on a slightly softer surface, such as a yoga mat. If you find it very easy, attempt 10 seconds of it with eyes closed. Never do the eyes closed variation without a wall or surface within touching distance. Safety first, always. The third component is the dietary consideration for neurological function. The myelin sheath, the protective coating around your nerve fibers that allows proprioceptive signals to travel at speed, requires vitamin B12 to maintain its integrity. Research shows that B12 deficiency, which is significantly more common after the age of 60 due to reduced gastric acid production limiting absorption, directly slows nerve conduction velocity. That is, the signal speed dropping. That is the message from your ankle arriving too late. Specific food sources high in B12 include sardines, eggs, beef liver, and fermented dairy such as natural live yogurt. Aim to include at least 2 of these in your daily diet. If you are vegan or vegetarian, supplementation is genuinely necessary. Speak to your doctor about a blood test for B12 levels specifically, not just a general blood panel. The one thing I want you to stop doing immediately is wearing thick, cushioned, motion control footwear inside your home as a safety measure. I understand the instinct. It feels protective. But thick-soled indoor footwear dramatically reduces the ground signal reaching your proprioceptive nerve endings. If you are concerned about cold floors, wear thin-soled, non-slip socks. If you are concerned about cushioning for comfort, address that with your doctor directly. But do not sacrifice sensory information in the name of comfort because that trade-off is costing you the very capacity you are trying to protect. In terms of tests worth discussing with your doctor, the first is something called the Timed Up and Go test, often referred to simply as the TUG test. This is not a blood test, it is a functional assessment. You sit in a chair, stand, walk 3 meters, turn, walk back, and sit again. The time it takes is clinically meaningful. Under 12 seconds is generally considered normal for adults over 70. 12 to 20 seconds indicates moderate fall risk. Over 20 seconds is considered high risk and warrants further assessment. You can do a version of this at home and time yourself, but having a clinician observe your gait pattern during it provides additional information a stopwatch cannot. The second test to discuss is serum vitamin B12, not general vitamin levels, specifically B12. Ask for the number. A level below 148 picomoles per liter is considered deficient in most clinical guidelines. Levels between 150 and 250 are often described as borderline, but many people experience functional neurological symptoms in that lower range, particularly if they are over 65. Do not accept "your levels are fine" without seeing the number. The third assessment is a medication review in the context of fall risk. Several classes of medication, including certain blood pressure medications, diuretics, sedatives, antihistamines, and some antidepressants, significantly increase fall risk through mechanisms including orthostatic hypotension, which is a drop in blood pressure on standing, sedation, and impaired balance signaling. If you are on 4 or more medications, ask your GP specifically about fall risk associated with your current combination. This is not a question most patients think to ask, and it is not always a question doctors raise proactively. Now, I want to be direct about when this video is no longer what you need. If you experience a sudden episode of severe dizziness that does not resolve within a few minutes, accompanied by difficulty walking or standing, call for emergency help. This could indicate a stroke or a cardiovascular event. If you fall and cannot get up, do not remain on the floor for a long period trying to manage it alone. If you have no way to call for help, get to a position of safety and use whatever means are available, a phone, a personal alarm, a loud call, to get assistance. If you notice that one side of your body feels weaker than the other when you attempt these balance exercises, report this to your doctor promptly. Asymmetric weakness is a neurological symptom that requires investigation. If you experience new and unexplained numbness or tingling in your feet or lower legs, particularly if it is constant rather than occasional, this may indicate peripheral neuropathy, which is nerve damage and requires a clinical assessment. Peripheral neuropathy is one of the most common compounding factors in fall risk and is often underdiagnosed in older adults. Here is exactly what to do after this video. Step 1. Test yourself with the Timed Up and Go. Use a chair, a timer, and 3 meters of clear floor. Record your time. Step 2. Begin barefoot standing practice tomorrow morning. 2 minutes. On a folded towel, eyes open, no holding on. Step 3. Add tandem walking the same day. 12 slow steps, twice a day, near a wall if needed. Step 4. Look at your lunch or dinner today and assess whether it contains a B12-rich food. Sardines, eggs, natural yogurt, or beef liver. Step 5. Book a B12 blood test with your GP and ask for the specific number when the result comes back. Step 6. Ask your GP or pharmacist for a medication fall risk review if you are taking 4 or more regular medications. Step 7. Remove thick-soled indoor slippers from your daily routine and replace them with thin-soled, non-slip options. Everything covered today is for your understanding and education. Your situation is specific to you, and using this as a starting point for a real conversation with your doctor will always be more useful than trying to manage things on your own. If this video helped you understand something your doctor has not taken the time to explain, please subscribe and give it a like. Every like tells me this kind of content matters to you, and it is the most direct signal I have to keep making it.